Okay, here we go. Are you ready yet?
I suppose so.
Stop stalling. Hello, everybody. Episode 34, Twins Talk Tech. I'm Bryce. That handsome devil over there is Brent, and he likes music. He wants to talk about it. Got a new stereo, from what I understand. Was it the Pioneer? Not a new stereo.
Yeah,
Was it? What do they call it when it's a car? Just a car radio? Not
car
really a
radio, head
stereo?
unit, whatever you want to call
Head
it.
unit. So you got a new fancy pants over there. And then there's some other stuff that you wanted to talk about, and I'm all for it. So start talking.
Okay. Well, I wasn't planning on talking so much about the car head unit because I don't have a lot
Whatever.
of information
Pick
on it.
something.
It just got put in, but either way. So there,
Before you go anywhere else, what did you get? And then maybe that's something we can look forward to you never reviewing for us.
sure. What we'll look forward to is me saying that I'll review it, and then the video will never
Just never doing it.
show up.
Well, you're busy, from what I'm told.
It might. Hey, that might be changing.
Um,
The head unit was now I've got to remember the model number.
Pioneer.
AVH 2330, and then the NEX model. The NEX, I guess, means something that doesn't mean anything to me, but it seems like when I've watched reviews and so forth, that seems to be something that matters.
Oh,
Anyway, the main reason we got it was for CarPlay, as well as Android Auto. If I were to have an Android car, it has both, or a phone rather, it does both. But so that was the main reason. For safety usage on the road. But yeah, like you mentioned, maybe at some other point we can get into details about that. But anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit about music because I'm not a musician. My wife, on our second anniversary, bought me a guitar.
Oh, very nice.
It was a guitar amp combo, like a little learner's kit.
little Strat, probably. Yeah.
Little Fender. I think it was a Fender, but yes, I believe so. Just a little kit. $200, nothing fancy, nothing, not bad. Somebody knows what they're doing, and it sounds pretty good. I learned a few chords 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Since I've gained back my fingertips, and I don't know those chords anymore. So I'm not a musician, is what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
But my daughter enjoys it. My son also does, but he's a typical 12-year-old. It's not his thing to sit down there and practice every day. But my daughter is the main reason it sparks this conversation. Because years ago, we bought a piano. The piano that we have is an electric piano, plug it into the wall. But it's a good full-size, 88 keys or whatever the full-size keyboard is. It's the Casio PX800. So it's been around for a while. But it's the type you can put an SD card in. You can plug headphones in. And the main reason that makes me think about this topic now is that you can also do MIDI out, M-I-D-I, MIDI out. And she's been wanting to write songs or do whatever that she feels like doing in some creative mode. And, of course, I knew that you could plug the headphone out and then into the computer or whatever and then record it. Because I didn't think that it had the MIDI. I assumed they would have been over there with the headphone jacks, but they weren't. They were on the other side. And I was just under there looking for a wire that I thought dropped down, and I saw the ports, and I was like, what? This has it all. And it also has a USB out that will go directly into a computer, but that is not supported on a Mac. And I don't have any software that'll do any of that stuff on a Windows machine. So the Mac that we have.
It'll send MIDI signals through the USB to a PC.
To my understanding, yes. Correct.
Wow.
You would have to have the driver. You go to the Casio website and download the driver for that. When you have the box, and the box that we have, I bought it on Amazon recently. I was going to go look at the price, but I want to say in the $30 range. There are multiple price points for a MIDI to USB adapter that you get for your computer. It is the MIDI Plus, MIDI+.
That's the
T-Box. Yeah, T-Box 2x2. Yes, that is a separate box. 2x2 meaning it has 2 MIDI in, 2 MIDI out. It's not really 2 in, 2 out. What it is there's an in and then an out to the computer, but then your computer will also go into that box and then back out into the piano or whatever other device you're using. For instance, on our piano has a MIDI in and a MIDI out. We use the MIDI out to get into the computer. You could also do that in reverse if you wanted the keys on the keyboard to be different sounds because you can switch those sounds.
Okay.
Yeah. So, or your voice or whatever.
Gotcha.
I'm not super familiar with the in to the piano because we've been doing things the other route, getting them out to the computer. Yeah, and we've been using GarageBand 10.3, whatever the latest iteration of that is now, 10.3.4 maybe anyway. But the main thing that, not the main thing, but one of the big things that she wanted to be able to do, just laugh yourself away there. Enjoy your time. I'm going to shift gears. I'm going to correct myself immediately after I say something that
I'm enjoying it. It's helping to keep me awake.
Good. I'm glad I could help you. What she wanted to do was be able to play something on the piano and then basically have something create the sheet music.
Oh, okay.
And that's a great thing that you can do with a MIDI device.
Yep.
And GarageBand, not every application, because you can do something similar in that you can get the sound into with what we have, a Windows computer with Audacity on it. But I have not looked further in. You mentioned something to me, and I had started that article but didn't go down far enough. Something about what you can do with MIDI and Audacity, but it's not doing exactly.
Yeah, it's all. I apologize for jumping in, but for that specific article, it's a wiki article regarding. It's their own wiki. It's on their website for Audacity. At the very bottom, it's not necessarily what you can do with MIDI in Audacity, because I believe the only thing you can do is record the MIDI signal. So basically the music. If you wanted to write out the sheet music or the notes or things of that nature, the very bottom has 5, 6, 10, whatever it is. Other applications, some are free, some are paid for, that do supplement that portion of what is missing in Audacity. So that's what's at the bottom of that article.
Yeah, so maybe we can toss that link if we can track it down again on the
sure.
Underneath the video or something. But I'll toss in a picture of that MIDI Plus T box,
okay.
USB MIDI adapter. But the benefit to the MIDI adapter is you don't need drivers, whether you use a Windows machine, a Mac, or even a Linux box. It doesn't matter what you have. It's all, there's a standard, and that supports that standard.
Yeah.
So it's nice that way. But within GarageBand, you can play whatever music you have. And then with the MIDI portion of that, you can correct the audio. For instance, if you're playing the piano and you hit a note too fast, maybe not super audible to the ears, or I wouldn't know it because I'm not that great at knowing the differences between all these songs, but you can see it because the lines are there for each. And I don't mean to, when you look at sheet music, you see lines this way. When you see the MIDI track laid out, it's just basically, not exactly dots, but squares or whatever on a timeline effectively. And you can click on a dot and move it. If you are off a note, you can move it up or down to the right, and you'll see the piano keys on one side. Move it to the right key. And if if you hit it too soon, if you hit it too late, you can move it forward or back. And then you can hit, I think it says sheet music or something to that effect, and then view the sheet music, the actual notes as you would see it.
And you're saying this is a feature of GarageBand specifically that does all this?
Well, GarageBand and some of those applications that you said is at the bottom of that MIDI Audacity wiki page might do the same things. I know there are some on Windows. I'm just not familiar with which ones because we just kind of started just now this week or so, or past maybe 2 weeks to look into this. And I haven't tested much. But with GarageBand, because we had it, it's free on the Mac. Actually, it's recently free on the Mac. When I got this Mac, it was not free, but either way, we have it now. And that is something that is, in 2011, it wasn't free on to users who purchased the product. It was a little bit later that they released it for free to everybody, like maybe even just last year or the year before. It was pretty late. Anyway, I got it for free. I almost bought it at one point. Then I was like, nah, I have it on the iPad and it's good enough. But and by the way, you cannot do the recording. How do I state this? You can record it, but there's the way to view the notes like you can on the computer. I do not believe that is in the GarageBand on the phone or iPad. So
it's very scaled back. Yeah,
still very powerful, but it's scaled back.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that you can do with it if you know where to tap, because it's not terribly intuitive. A little annoying, but I get you.
Yeah, there are some ways to do it. I was watching some videos on the internets with some other applications that can interact because of the new way that Apple has in iOS 11 to interact between apps. There is a way to get a few other apps, and there's a very good free app that I just found out about that we can also link to. I did not put it here.
What's it called?
Track it down. Synth One.
Okay.
SYNTH. One. 2 words. It's a free application, but it is like crazy powerful. Powerful meaning there's a lot of buttons and knobs that I have no earthly idea what they do. But it was created by a bunch of people. I'm trying to think of where I saw this at, so then we can also maybe toss that link there. There was someone on a show that got interviewed, podcast. Anyway, I can't think about it. If I do come up with it, we'll toss it in the show notes. But anyway, that will interact with GarageBand on an iOS device. And then there's a few other ones. And it will do the MIDI also. So that is one way to do it. But you have to learn both applications. And I certainly don't know this new application. GarageBand, I can record things and stuff like that, but I haven't gotten super into that either. But anyway, that's kind of the gist of what brought up this particular conversation. Stuff that I'd like to learn about, be able to get better at. Not so much from the vantage point of a musician, because I'm not one. I don't know how to play the piano. Stopped when I was 10 years old. Michelle was teaching me, and as a typical 10-year-old, I'd rather be outside playing around. And now that I'm not 10 anymore, it would have been nice had I stuck with it for a little bit. But my daughter has stuck with it, and she's not too shabby at it. However, I would like to start picking up the guitar again. I'd like to get our area together. We get the piano in one spot. We do have the guitar sitting over there, but anyway, if we get that organized a little to the point where I can just drop down and strum a little bit on the electric guitar to learn some things, maybe we can do a video about that, because we have talked in the past about how to get audio into a computer and be able to mess with it. This is one way. If you happen to have a Macintosh, an old or new, and GarageBand, you can use, of course, recording out the 1/4-inch adapter if you have one through an adapter into the computer, but also this MIDI box if you have a keyboard, if that's your style of music. Your son, you just mentioned, and a microphone that he's going to use for, what did you say it was for again?
For his guitar, yeah. So it's funny, I'm hearing that your wife bought you for an anniversary the kit, and that you still have it in the corner, and I think, oh, that's adorable. I remember back when I think all of this happened before you moved in with us. You know how you were with us for 6 months or a year?
Yeah.
I wanted to learn, so I went out and bought a kit. There was a friend of mine who played guitar really well. So I went out and bought a kit, spent about $300-ish, amp, guitar, bag, cables, blah, blah, blah. Then he was supposed to teach me, and it turned out to basically be he was serenading me, because it was just an hour of him playing guitar every week. So I stopped that and didn't touch it for a while. Guitar got set in the corner. Life moved on. I want to say it was before we moved out to California. She sold it. I didn't even know. She sold the guitar and the amp. So I think that's actually what sparked it, is because I mean, honestly, I shouldn't have cared because I never played it, but it was just more like, you didn't even tell me you're going to do it. But anyways, it's gone. So now you fast forward to a couple of years ago, my son wanted to get into guitars. He played the violin, and while he doesn't really practice, he's got a muscle memory. He's actually surprisingly good for someone who never practices. I mean, you compare him to someone who practices often, you'll definitely hear the difference. But he's surprisingly good, and he definitely has that music gene, if it exists. He has it. He enjoys it. He learns very quickly. And when he wanted a guitar, we're like, okay, fine. You have to save up some money and we'll chip in a little bit. And so we did that. I don't remember if it was 50-50 or we made him go most of the way, 75-25. I don't remember, but he definitely had to pay the bulk of it. He got a Strat Fender, I guess very similar to probably what I had and you had. And then, and me being how I am, I didn't want the lowest end. We waited for a sale and we got, it's still a beginner's kit, but it's a high-end beginner's kit, which still in guitar world means crap, but he makes do. We actually just recently upgraded his his amp. He had just the beginner 20 watt Fender. I think it's called a Fender 20, Fender 18, something like that. So it's not the 15 watt beginner amp. It's the 20 watt. Ooh. And he has some friends who have a slightly more powerful, more tricks to them amps. So again, sale going on with July 4 being just passed. He wanted what was called the Mustang Champion. And no, he wanted the Fender Champion. That's what it was called. Champion 20. And it's nice because it has all these knobs and buttons, and you can actually emulate other amps with it. Yeah. And I said, okay, fine. That's how much money do you have? Okay, we'll add that to it. Same idea. He has to pay for a little bit. We pay for a little bit. And then we get there, and I've already done a bit of research. I work with a couple guys who are really into guitars, and so picking their brain, doing some research. So I tried to talk him into a certain amp. It's called the Mustang GT, named after the car, I guess. And it's called a modeling amp. So basically, it's a closed back. It has a little air tube for the bass. A lot of people basically just consider it stereo, really, a Bluetooth stereo that also accepts the guitar input. Because it does give you a more full range than a standard guitar amp. Anyways, long story short, he still gets the Champion because that's what he wanted. I wasn't going to talk him into it. Saved me $100. So he gets that. We get home. He starts watching videos on that, how to use it, how to tweak it. And he sees a video where they're comparing that one with the GT. And he's like, Dad, I might want the GT. So we had just bought it 2 or 3, 4 days. Mom was still out of town with my daughter. They were on vacation with some family. And so I said, well, the day comes where we got to go pick up Mom. We'll have a little bit of time in the morning. If you decide, I'll give you a couple more days to decide. We'll go get the other amp because we had a certain amount of money. He only used this much. There was some padding. So I called up Guitar Center. Hey, you had an amp on sale in Hollywood. For this price, is it still on sale? And it wasn't Hollywood. I wasn't going to drive all the way to Hollywood. That's out of the way. They said it was. So we went and we got him the Mustang GT. It's a 40 watt. It built into it has 120 modeling amps. So again, it emulates other Fenders, but also it emulates Marshalls and it emulates Orange and all of these ones all the way back into like the 60s and 50s. So that you can
digital screen on it or just all knobs?
It has a small little digital screen at the very top, but it's Bluetooth. So you can grab your phone, pair it, which we did with the Fender app, select things there, tweak things through there. And it's also Wi-Fi. So that's actually how it automatically downloads updates to itself. So that's kind of neat. So look it up, Fender Mustang GT 40. They make the 40, an 80, 100, and a 300. It might even be a 400. Those are those gigantic situations. So if you're going to be at a concert, you'll probably have a 300 or 400. So anyways, that's why this microphone is here. Because this microphone that I keep in my sunglass case, this is the Sterling Audio S30. So it's an older microphone, but it was really good, super silent, super quiet, so that I didn't get a lot of hiss and whatnot. A lot of the most recent videos, I haven't done any audio tweaking, which I think is great because that's what you used to spend most of my time on. And because I don't have the best ears, I was probably still putting out crap. But anyways, I'm going to give this to him because he has a small little tripod / mic stand that'll sit in front of his amp. The Ceremonic Pro or Plus, Ceremonic Plus, is at home in his room because he'll need phantom power. This is a dynamic mic. I'm actually plugged into the Behringer. What do we call that? The Xenix something, 502, 501, the little 1 XLR situation. And it sounds pretty good right now anyways, but this is a Shure SM57 from like 1989 or something silly. Super old. Still sounds fantastic though. Anywho, that's why this is here. This is going to be given to him in his bedroom. When it's in his bedroom, he gets it taken away a lot because we're like, you need to get ready. You need to get ready. And we go in there, he's playing guitar. All right. Guitar goes downstairs and then it slowly works its way back up into his room, and it's 2 weeks later, so we forget about it. But anyways, that's a 14-year-old boy for you. So he's doing really good with that. I think learning the violin helped him because the chords and the strings are very similar. The notes on the strings. He already talks above my head when it comes to all of these things. You know, he's like, Dad, I like to tune it to drop D. Drop whatever you want, man. Drop it like it's hot, brother. Go do it. You know, whatever you want. Sure. I don't even know what that means. But he's been saying he wants to get a new amp. No, he got that. He wants to get a new guitar. Give me his guitar. His old amp is still sitting in there. And then teach me to play guitar. He's by far not a pro, of course. But yeah, I think he knows enough to teach me guitar. Teach me some of the basic chords. He's 100% self-taught. I mean, I'm not like a lot. I mean, just he's fantastic for just teaching himself the chords and doing what he's been doing. I guess it helps that he has enough time to be there 3-4 hours a day, just kind of playing with it. But he listens to a song and he puts his hands on the guitar and he plays it. Could be the first time. He's like a savant. His dad's an idiot. He's a savant. It works out. A nice balance. But it works. It works for him, and maybe I'll pick it up. I probably have enough time to do it. Typically, when I hear someone say, I don't have enough time, the way my brain interprets that is, I don't have enough time for that, right? Your average person goes home and they watch TV for an hour or 6 a week, right? Some people even nap during the day. Some people have multiple lunches, multiple dinners. So if you can take some of those away, right, it'll leave time for other things. So I can't say that I don't have time for it. I'm quite busy. Right now I'm actually quite tired because I have 10-hour days. That ends today. Today's the last day for me, which is July 13th. And so I might have, at least 30 minutes a day or so that I could devote to him and playing the guitar. I know he would like it. He would like to be able to spend some more time together. And doing something that he enjoys spending time together obviously helps, right? So We'll see. We have a piano. My daughter was taking lessons. What she doesn't want to do is practice. She wants to come home and watch TV. And we're like, okay, you watch TV after 30 minutes or an hour of practice. And so we have she has mastered Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. I mean, I don't think anybody can play it better. Yeah, but you can't play anything else. So not even chopsticks. And I almost can play chopsticks. So that's kind of where we stand. We're looking into maybe getting rid of the piano because it is so big, but getting a keyboard. Micaiah already likes the idea of keyboards. He's going to be like a one-man band one of these days. Plays drums, violin. He can dabble on the piano. And then the guitar. I want to get him a banjo. Why not? I've always liked the banjo. An electric banjo. Do they make those?
They do.
Let's do it.
They do.
I want that. So anyways, and I'm more of the roadie, right? The roadie, the gaffer, whatever in the background, setting up all the wires and whatever. And even this, when I showed him the microphone, he's like, oh yeah, cool. And I showed him kind of all the extra steps involved to do it. He started to gloss over, lost interest. I was like, sorry, if you wanted to sound good, because he was just setting his phone next to the amp. And, you can hear dogs barking in the background, his sister yelling at me, why'd you turn off the TV? Because you're watching it all the time. So, which, I mean, if that's the name of the song, perfect.
It'd be a good song. Sounds like
Yeah, it sounds like a great
I heard the chorus already. We need to just pull that out and put it in there.
Yeah. Heavily auto-tuned. Heavily auto-tuned.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's all I got for now. Maybe you had on your list, Brent provided a nice list, which was enjoyable. You had on the list about some of these other apps, Google Play, Apple Music, as well as some software specifically for the thing. Maybe we can talk about that another day. Maybe we can have a whole episode on just simply GarageBand. I've been helping my son use it a little bit. Sounds like you got the iPad, or I should say the iPhone version. I don't know why he doesn't have it on his iPad. He has an older iPad, but it still works with that. But anyways, You guys have been using the PC, the laptop version, right? So, I don't know. Maybe one day I'll try to maybe have him on, or even we'll just shoot a quick video of what his setup is And it's always changing because he's 14. He borrows things from friends, and they always swap hardware and whatever else. But
right.
It's got a pretty trippy little setup for a 14-year-old. I'm a little jealous. I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, that's the benefit to GarageBand, is that learning all the instruments that he does, he can put them all and kind of create his own music once he gets to the point of understanding getting that music in there.
Yeah.
It'd be a pretty good thing to know.
At the end of this video, which will be in about a minute or two, I'll put in this MP3 they sent me that he recorded. So, I mean, if you listen to it, you might think to yourself, well, that's, okay, it's good, right? Because it is. I mean, it's good. I wouldn't call it professional because he's not professional. There's definitely, like you were saying, sometimes you got to move a note, shift it just a smidge, you'll hear a little few of those. But, it was definitely, he's proud of it. I'm proud of it. He did a good job. And he's doing a little more of that. So he's trying to add in some drum tracks and even some other instruments. So we'll see. We'll see one of these days. But it's definitely a pretty trippy and interesting time for young ones who have the time and energy and interest to devote to music. I think music's super important. I wish schools would make it important. They put sports just through the roof, and I love sports. I like basketball, baseball, football, whatever, soccer, luge. But wouldn't that be great if there's like a high school luge team? But music is just like, okay, here, music teacher, you get to cover these 6 schools. So like, once a week a school has, I guess that doesn't make sense, 5 schools. Once a week, these kids have music class because that's all it is. That's how important it is to them. I guess it's nice the music teacher still has a job, but I mean, really, football's that important? I guess because you get full ride scholarships to these schools. That's probably why it's important. But
where the money is, they follow on the money.
Yeah. Anyways, well, that's all I got for now. We're probably running out of time anyways. So
yes, sir.
Anything else quick that you want to bring up?
Not really.
Okay. So episode, what did we say, 34?
We did.
All right. She's down the tubes, or should I say on the tubes. YouTube.
Will be.
And we'll see everybody on the next episode. I can't say next week because you never know. But the next episode is a guarantee. All right. Ciao.
All right. Take care. All right.